You've probably heard of HIIT workouts before. These workouts where you go at a super high intensity and then you take a small break and then you recover and you do it again. A lot of people think that that's the only way to really get a true workout in. And if you're going for a light jog or a brisk walk throughout the park, then you're not really doing anything. But is doing intense workouts really the best way to stay fit and to stay healthy? Well, it might not be. So more research is coming out on something called Zone 2 training. Now, what exactly is Zone 2 training? So a lot of coaches and different exercise programs have these different zones in their workout. Typically, they range between Zone 1 and Zone 5. Zone 1 is supposed to be something that's really easy, like window shopping or going for a walk in the park. And Zone 5 is supposed to be something that's really intense, like going all out and doing your HIIT workout. Now, Zone 2 is going to be something that's more on the easier side. Now, typically, Zone 2 training will have your heart rate at about 70 to 85% of your maximum heart rate. What is your maximum heart rate? It's literally the highest your heart rate has ever been. That's your maximum heart rate. But if you're like most people, you're not going to be able to track your workout. So a really easy way to determine if you are in Zone 2 when you're working out is to see if you can have a full conversation with someone. If you're able to maintain a full sentence, but that sentence is a little strained and a little difficult, or in other words, a little uncomfortable, then you are in Zone 2. If you're not able to maintain a full conversation, then you've gone past Zone 2. But if you're having a really easy time having a conversation, then you're in Zone 1. Now, this zone is going to be different for everyone. Some people are going to be more fit than others, so they're going to be able to do more intense workouts and still stay in Zone 2. And you can literally do Zone 2 training doing anything like cycling or jogging or rowing, even swimming. Although I wouldn't recommend you having a conversation with someone while you're swimming. Now, what are the benefits of doing Zone 2 training? Well, Zone 2 has been shown to improve your VO2 max and also your health span. In other words, how long you will live, but also how healthy you will be for that period of your life. Now, what is VO2 max? VO2 max is basically a measure of your fitness. It's defined as the maximum rate of oxygen consumption available during physical exercise. Basically, when you're exercising, how much oxygen can your body carry? So if someone has a higher VO2 max level, they are going to be more fit. And we know from studies that people who have a higher VO2 max and are more physically fit, they tend to live longer and healthier. Now, I'm not saying you should completely abandon your HIIT workouts and those intense workouts are pointless. I think you should still do those, but I think you should really start incorporating a lot of your Zone 2 training. In fact, I think you should be doing a majority of your time in Zone 2 or this moderate intense training, and then the rest of your training should be those HIIT workouts. So this was a study published in Frontiers in Physiology. And they took these athletes and they put them into one of 4 groups. They either had them train exclusively at a really high volume but low intensity, or the opposite, really high intensity but a low volume of the training, like a HIIT workout. They also had them training only at their lactate threshold. That's basically the threshold where your body can clear out that lactate that you're producing when you're working out. And the 4th group was a polarized workout, which is basically a combination of these different workouts. What the study found was the athletes had a greater increase in their VO2 max when they incorporated this Zone 2 training instead of just doing these HIIT workouts. But at the same time, you can't only do Zone 2 training, because the study also found that when high intensity workouts were neglected and you were only doing these low intense workouts, then your VO2 max levels also did not increase. So they concluded that the best way to increase your VO2 max is by doing polarized workouts. Now, what is a polarized workout? A polarized workout is, again, a combination of these different intensities of working out. And it's where you do a majority of time in Zone 2 or this moderate intensity, and then the rest of your training is spent at a high intensity. Now, this doesn't have to be completely black and white, because regardless, if you're working out, if you're doing some sort of exercise, that's better than someone who's sitting on the couch, right? But I recommend doing the 80-20 rule, where you spend about 80% of your time in Zone 2 doing moderate intensity exercising, and then the rest of your exercising, that 20%, is spent doing HIIT workouts or workouts at a really high intensity. Now, studies also say when you're doing your Zone 2 training, it's best to incorporate it for 3 hours in your week. One way to do that, for example, is doing 4 separate 45-minute sessions. Now, obviously, everybody's schedule is different, so that may not be possible for you. So regardless, just try to focus on incorporating more of that Zone 2 training into your workouts. Now, why else is Zone 2 so important? It's not just for improving your VO2 max and improving your fitness level. Another major benefit you get from Zone 2 training is fat burning. Because when you're training at a lower intensity where your body can start to utilize its fat, this is a more efficient process to produce energy. And this is why you can maintain that zone 2 training for a longer period of time. Once you get in the higher zones of training and training at a higher intensity, this is when your breathing starts increasing and your heart rate starts increasing and your lactate buildup starts increasing. And in turn, your body switches to using glycogen as a fuel source instead of fat. And once you get to this point, your body starts producing more lactate than your body can normally clear away on its own. So then you have this lactate buildup, and that's what causes that burning feeling of your muscles. Now again, I'm not saying to abandon your HIIT workouts or your really intense workouts, but if you want to maximize your fat burning, you got to start incorporating more zone 2, because zone 2 also improves the health of your mitochondria. Your mitochondria is the powerhouse of your cell, and this is how your cells produce energy. And this is also the only place in your cells where you can utilize fat as a source for energy. So knowing this, zone 2 training would be exceptionally good for someone who is metabolically unhealthy. Because when someone's metabolically unhealthy, their mitochondria just don't work as well. They're not as healthy. And as a result, that person who's metabolically unhealthy will not be able to burn fat as efficiently as someone who is healthy. Now, if you spend more time in zone 2, most of the work done in zone 2 is being done by your slow twitch muscle fibers. Now, these slow twitch muscle fibers are really dense with mitochondria. And also, you're not going to be generating as much of that lactate, so you're not going to have as much of that burning feeling. As a result, this is going to help you produce new and more mitochondria, and that's going to help you be more efficient at burning fat and creating energy. This study was also published in the Journal of Physiology, and they found that moderate training, like in zone 2, this actually induces your cells to get rid of old and malfunctioning mitochondria and replace them with new mitochondria. This is a process called mitophagy. So if you're someone that loves to work out or someone that never works out at all, regardless, you should be doing more zone 2 training because it's really easy to do and it has a lot of benefits. If someone is cutting their calories and they're getting to their calorie limit, but all they're eating is junk food, then they're going to be depriving themselves of nutrients. And one nutrient in particular that we need is protein. A lot of people are simply lacking in the amount of protein that they're getting every day. And I think part of the reason for that is right now the RDA, or the